Hello, guys. Welcome back. And here is our third episode of AI Unchained with our very own John Nahas from Labs. That we're super honored to have John to share his insights and experience in the crypto and AI space.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be with you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, John. And hi, guys. Again, this is Chi and Scott. We're the co-founders of KITE AI, and we're the first purpose-built blockchain for AI, working extremely closely with Avalanche and Avalanche Foundation to make this vision happen. And today, John, probably it's good for you to start with your own past experience and your just a quick intro about yourself. Yeah.
Sure. It's great to be with you guys again. Thanks for having me. It was especially great after spending time with a bunch of the team at Summit and at every other conference. So it's always great to spend time with you guys, and it's great to be online with you today talking about this. So John Nahas, Chief Business Officer at Labs. I've been at Labs for a little over 4.5 years, which is like a lifetime in the Web3 space. Joined before mainnet launched. We were a rather small team, around 30 people, mostly engineers at the time. Uh, I now am Chief Business Officer, which means two things: business development efforts for Labs, the for-profit company that supports um, the Avalanche Foundation and the growth of Avalanche and the use of the Avalanche network, as well as a vast majority of my time is focusing on ecosystem growth for that adoption of Avalanche. So we oversee a bunch of verticals. So institutional capital markets, think traditional finance, enterprise and consumer, wallets and exchanges, gaming, DeFi, strategic initiatives, which include, of course, DePIN and AI, and infrastructure, as well as a lot of international teams. So I think in addition to the core team that most people are familiar with, we do have local presence in a lot of countries and a lot of regions. So Japan, Korea, India, Singapore, the broader Southeast Asia region, Turkey, Middle East, primarily out of the UAE, Latin America, and continually growing. So it's been a few years. Previous to this, I'd been in startups for a while. I launched a digital news site called Mike.com way back when, around 2010 or so. Before that, I was doing international trade, OTC commodities. And previous to Labs, I helped build and sell a company that was focusing on tokenization, trading of real world assets. A little bit early in 2017, that got acquired by Franklin Templeton. So started in the fintech using blockchain space, and then decided to go all in on crypto and Web3 in 2020. It's been a few years, and it's been exciting.
That's fantastic. Honestly speaking, John, I didn't know that well run that like all the like a great past experience you had before. One, actually, it's I know you have been in Avalanche for quite some time, but I didn't know that it was like that beginning. That was like 30 people team.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see right now how big you guys grow to. Yeah.
I mean, look, I think that's what I mean. Honestly, that's what drew me to this team. I was looking for something crypto native. I was talking to another protocol, an exchange, a custodian, a bunch of other things, and it's actually a great story. I got introduced to the team at Ava Labs, and I had gone through interviews at 3 or 4 other places that took 2, 3, 4 weeks. And I met the team here on like a Thursday. Spent the whole weekend reading the Avalanche white paper or watching videos of Kevin and Emin talking about all things Avalanche and the caliber of the team, the founders, President John Woon. Everybody really was exciting to me. So I took, I was ready to go, and actually started a week later on Friday the 11th. So I remember it was about 7 or 8 days after I first met them. I started. They moved quick. I like to move quick. Um, so it's been quite the 4.5 years. I think we've had some amazing moments along the way, and I think we're really poised right now for kind of that next big chapter in Avalanche's journey, with amazing partners, amazing applications, amazing new Avalanche L1s such as yourselves. kind of showing that interoperability and how a network of interconnected chains really does work. I think it's something that this industry has not delivered on for the longest time. Tons of general purpose chains come and go all the time. They're all kind of looking for their own niche. I think what we do is enable people, especially amazing projects like Kite and others, to really have their own environment and to really scale blockchain adoption and use cases by building applications that are needed. And on our side, all we're doing is really providing the infrastructure that allows that. So it's a fun time.
That's amazing. And also your technology speaks to itself. That's the one, also, like the speed, the scalability, all the stuff. You emphasize on speed a lot, and that's just one of the things we like about our stack, because that's one of the key needs for us as well, in order to keep up the speed of AI transactions and those infra needs. But yeah.
I mean, that was the goal, right? I think a lot of times, especially in this space, and you see it on crypto Twitter, people like to fight and argue about little details and little technical nuances. And a lot of kind of new chains are great proof of concepts and great ideas on paper or academically, or a great way to raise VC money, but don't really have product market fit or a use case or a need. They're kind of a solution in search of a problem. I know that's a cliche that's been used a lot in this industry, but it's true. I think with Avalanche, it really was from the beginning, 5+ years ago, the white paper built from the ground up to really tackle all these problems. Granted, it's taken us a few years of development and growth to get there, but I really think we finally arrived at a moment where the full potential is possible. The C chain is cheapest it's been. It's one of the least expensive EVMs that's truly decentralized out in the market. Instant finality. The fees are low now, thanks to a lot of the learnings that we got from optimizing Avalanche L1s. And with dozens of Avalanche L1s live and a ton in testnet and coming in the next 6, 9, 12, 18 months, it's really going to be an exciting time to see how everything works the way it was intended from an idea years ago.
Yeah, actually, that's just, things that I want to chat more about, because, like you said, this tech has been built for a while, and now I think a lot of the needs start surfing from the market, and of course, one of the things that is also like the thing that Kai focus on is the AI space. It's like,
Mhm.
like leveraging blockchain to solve some of the real needs on the AI space, such as like the agentic transactions, payments, all the stuff that's really become a challenge that people seeing that the internet's moving towards agentic internet. So in this case, I'm curious about, in your position, in Avalanche's position, where do you see the biggest opportunity at the intersection of AI and blockchain right now?
So I'll take a step back and kind of give you an idea. I think this space, in particular on the blockchain side, loves these kind of short-term narratives that come and go, right? They're really good for short-term attention. They're really good for short-term kind of uh, narratives. They raise a lot of money. They come and go. Nothing really ever happens. I think, and that's been happening over and over and over again. I think AI kind of had a little bit of a blockchain moment in the sense of like anything that had the word AI in it was like super exciting and amazing for long. It still is, frankly, and I think it's maybe slowing down a little bit, which is a good thing. But we know this, right? With any great technology and the road to adoption, there's always kind of the narrative and the story versus the reality. I think there's a little bit of a decoupling there. But what really excites me now is kind of that intersection between the reality of what blockchain can do, and I think we're delivering on that across institutional and enterprise and payments and DeFi and a million other things on our side. That are bringing real world use cases and adoption on chain with what you guys are doing on the AI side, right? I think there's, everyone's super familiar with all the agentic uh, applications out there and whatever it may be, but there is at the same time this expanding scope of a million things happening, but also a narrowing of what's really working and what can really be used. And I think those two things, with what we're doing, what you guys are doing, particularly on the AI side, really brings together the opportunities that exist in AI and blockchain to go forward. I mean, I would say, it's a little bit of a cliche, but everyone talks about, blockchains are the rails in which AI and agents are going to be able to pay each other. And in a future world, my AI will replicate my intent, my personality, my preferences, my goals, whatever it may be, kind of like a super executive assistant, right? And can transact for me on chain. Like that's ultimately, I think, where we go. Stable coins fuel this, crypto rails fuel this. Um, but we do these things on a daily basis and we take them for granted in traditional rails, right? You go to a website, you set an auto pay for your subscription or your bank account or your home bill or whatever it is. These things still use old traditional rails. They use ACH and Swift and SEPA and Fedwire, but effectively you are instructing a company to debit money from somewhere else or do other things. I think we can get to a point where individuals have their own agents, right? And those agents oversee a collection of wallets or accounts or balances. Maybe you opt in, maybe you don't. But it'll look like, oh, here's your monthly cash flow. Here's when your next paycheck is coming. You just made an extra huge bonus here. Based on your preference, we're going to allocate a percentage of this to a savings account. We're going to allocate part of this to pay down this highest interest debt. We're going to allocate this much to pay this bill that's coming in 2 days and this other bill that's coming in 15 days. All these things that we right now kind of do on a daily basis that take up time and effort and energy can all be automated, particularly with AI, particularly by studying our behaviors, our patterns, maybe improving them, or at least suggesting improvements on them and executing on them without us having to do it right now, right? Like I have a million things on auto pay, but I also get an email and then I put a reminder to pay something or do something. These things can all start to become so much more automated, and AI will be and AI is really the forcing feature that'll make that happen. It's going to happen on blockchain rails. It can happen on traditional rails, but those are going to be slow and they're going to execute slow and they're going to take time to settle T plus 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be. If you have the technology that's instantaneous, or that can ingest data in large quantities like AI, and blockchain that can execute on these rails near instantly, why are we still spending all this time? Like that extra time, that those delays are causing friction in productivity. They're causing friction in a million other things that I think can all be taken away. I think that people are always worried about AI taking jobs and doing a million other things. In reality, I think what it's going to do is just make us much more efficient, and it'll open up opportunities for people to be more creative, more thoughtful. Maybe spend more time with friends and family. I don't know, right? But there's so many more opportunities, I think, that are open from this rather than the inverse.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, that's a long-winded way of saying, the biggest kind of connection there and the biggest opportunity is for agents to just operate on chain on behalf of individuals, companies, whatever it may be.
Yeah, so I want to add a few more points here. First is that I completely agree with John, and then but I think few more points actually make this time different. First is that AI is the biggest trending, like we call it super cycle for next 15 years. This cycle is actually bigger than internet, it's bigger than mobile, it's bigger than cloud, it's bigger than blockchain for last 20 years. It's already actually showing the effect. Like Cursor is the fastest company to reach from 0 to 500 million ARR in less than 18 months. And then the growth for ChatGPT is already 6 times faster than Google in this case. And today, more people probably use ChatGPT than almost any other website. ChatGPT is already grows like 5th most used website. The AI supercycle growth is extreme in this case. It's faster than any internet. It's faster than, if you're rolling out a new product in AI, in this case, the next day you'll have millions of users, hundreds of millions of users, maybe next month. So this is different than almost everything before in this case. From the enterprise investment world, Microsoft only invested in AI like a few years back, almost like a year or 2 years back. They dedicated like almost like $500 billion just investing in AI related company. That's already happening, and then for many years. And then everyone, AI not only on the enterprise level or business level, it's not like a national level top priority. If you think about how US and China and Europe talk about AI, it's all top priority. It's like a national level. So that's why I think this super cycle is different. But currently, the AI is still cannot operate in this case. They don't have an ID to hold AI accountable, AI agent accountable. They don't have a wallet they can spend like autonomously. They don't have a trust framework governance it in this case. Governance is spending, and then agent to agent interaction, we don't have agreement. I think actually this is actually what where KITE AI is building, the blockchain for AI part. And then there is a huge difference with blockchain for AI and AI for blockchain. AI for blockchain is just, like maybe add as you mentioned, like add some agent helping you to buy token, figure out what token is more feasible. It's probably additional, I don't know, 30%, 50% boost for the blockchain in this case. But blockchain for AI is much, much bigger TAM in this case because the AI going to grow into the largest industry, probably $1 trillion industry, $20 trillion industry in next 15 years. Even a small percentage of this is going to mean that it's $1 trillion market. So that's why we focus on its blockchain for AI part instead of AI for blockchain. Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, I think you touched on something. You called it a super cycle, and if you look in like development and global development and global development goals and all these things, I think they refer to these things as chondritive cycles or chondritive waves, right? Which are these cycles that come every 40 to 60 years, or cycles that last 40 to 60 years that are truly like transformational, right? Whether it's the wheel and then electricity or automobiles, and then mobile phones, and then the internet. Blockchain has been there, and I think it started there. But I think blockchain hasn't had the stickiness to kind of skyrocket in that regard. Blockchain, I think, started because I think blockchain started initially as kind of this fringe group with Bitcoin, right? That was supposed to be anti the system and all this other stuff. There's been this like isolation or insular kind of self-focus of blockchain. And what I mean by that is you see this, right, with like people fighting on crypto Twitter about the smallest technicalities and technical differences and all these other little things, which a majority of people don't care about. And I think crypto, for the most part, is actually, despite trying to be this egalitarian way to disintermediate, blah, 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 all this great, lofty ambitions, is actually very elitist. Because it's crypto people build crypto products for crypto users. Crypto native people talk to other people that aren't using crypto as if they don't know anything, right? I mean, we refer to people who are not crypto native as normies. I mean, that's kind of a pejorative, right? In the sense of like, you don't understand seed phrases and all these complications and difficulties that we like to have. And I think we like to have it because it makes us feel better about ourselves and different, that we are working with some special technology that you, the average person, either don't understand or just you're way behind. AI, I think, changes this. And what I mean by that is I think AI is that unlock that brings blockchain mainstream, right? Blockchain is not going to help bring AI mainstream. AI will help bring blockchains mainstream by tucking blockchain rails into the use cases that AI opens up, that it allows for, right? I mean, it's a huge technical innovation on the AI side, and you're seeing this now everywhere, and you're seeing it more and more, and it's becoming more prevalent, and people are okay with that because people realize that AI, for the most part, up until makes their lives easier or makes their lives better or improved on something, right? I don't have to read a book. I can just go to ChatGPT. I don't have to hire a graphic designer to give me just ideas about a picture. I can use AI for that, right? What immediate problem has blockchain been able to solve, unless you're in a tough situation and you need to send money immediately, but then you still need to on and off board? Blockchain has been an island, right? And we create this amazing utopia that's this on-chain world on this island or on this other planet. But to get there, to on and off ramp, is still difficult. You still need traditional rails. You still need traditional banks. You still need to go through all these hoops and things. And because it's financialized mostly in nature, it's highly regulated. AI doesn't do that, right? AI is just like, you want ChatGPT or Claude or whatever? Oh, type it into your browser, right? Like, I can't type my wallet into my browser. So AI actually maybe is the bridge that connects all the blockchain island to many other islands or many other blockchains that are. I think you get where I'm trying to go with this lofty thing, but ultimately it really is that thing. To your point, it is, I think, a super cycle of just overall technological innovation. I think they're supportive of each other, and which is just the beginning.
Yeah, John, this actually then goes back to what you said. You touched my heart with one thing that you really said. I think one of the things that's Scott and I come from Web2 background. We come from like AI and big data background, and have been in the crypto space for a few years. Not that long, 3 years, but observed a lot of things. I think one thing I'm truly felt also like attracted by this philosophy, but also sometimes feel challenging about how blockchain can go mainstream is, like you say, a lot of times crypto industry and a lot of like the people here are more treating this or living as a utopian. And that's the problem here when it comes to you really want to push a technology to have mainstream adoption. Because what you need is to solve a real world problem that is a pain point to people, and people are willing to, one, use it, second, pay for it, instead of like talking about a lot of those technical nuances that, like you said, you know, overcomplicating them sometimes makes people feel sometimes good, like I'm smarter than you, I'm more well thought than you, and all the stuff. But the problem here is most of the users, most of the mainstream world care about what is the solution, what is that benefit you can bring to me, instead of like talking about, yeah, I'm choosing this VM because of that reason and those. I think that's just like the thing that's to me, I see a very big gap between the Web 2 and the Web 3 worlds. Of course, I think over the last few honestly like a few months, we start seeing like things has been changed as like people recognize this will not be a sustainable game if we keep emphasizing on things that's more living in a fantasy world. And another thing that's honestly, I felt even like I felt sad that when we talk about agentic payments, when we talk about like blockchain serving as a payment rail that can enable agent to pay for each other, pay for services. So, like crypto people actually talk about this earlier than AI people. Like AI people start talking about this a lot this year. I have been at the PayPal that day. Scott has been at the Stripe that week. All of them talking about agentic payments that can be enabled by stablecoin. Kevin Welly from OpenAI, the CPO, even talked about how smart contracts can serve as control layer here to really govern the agent's behavior, aligning that with a human intent. But guess what? I think a lot of crypto people talked about that starting from last year, beginning of last year. But what happened that this thing cannot, what made it this thing cannot be driven, cannot be like delivered in the crypto world, rather than now AI people start talking about, oh, look at that. There's like a great technology in the world called blockchain, called wallet, called smart contract, called stablecoin, can be used for serving AI use cases. Why not crypto people? Now they have been in the space for so long, and why they cannot apply that thing earlier than AI
All
people?
right,
I think
now you're gonna get me in trouble. Look, it's because crypto's overly financialized. It's hyper financialized, and the incentive to deliver something is is too low compared to the incentive to make a lot of money really quickly. Right? With crypto, you have the blessing and the curse of the token. Right? Because if you launch a product and you launch that token does really well, you make a lot of money. Maybe delivering on the rest of your vision and promise is not really that exciting anymore. The effort needed to actually deliver on the vision and the mission after 1, 2, 3, 4 years is monumentally harder than just maintaining the status quo and the narrative. You see this in a couple other ecosystems or blockchains that are very highly valued that have still yet to deliver any use cases, applications, or meaningful users. They're practically a meme, right? They're a meme that's wrapped around a supposed forthcoming technology, and the industry doesn't reward real things yet. I think we're at an inflection point where that's starting to change, and there's only so many cycles that we can keep doing over and over again where people just don't see any kind of meaningful growth. Um, Did I get lost?
Yeah, so I think I think the AI and the blockchain are fundamental forces going to change the world for next 5 to 15 years in this case. But it's okay. We can wait for John to join back. We can continue with the discussion a bit. Um, I feel like AI and blockchain are fundamental forces going to change the world for next 15 years. And then, but it share very different traits. AI is more like a telegraphic in this case. Like if you look at comparing to AI innovation to telegraphic was invented I don't know in like 1850-ish, and then at that time you have just cable, you have telegraphic cable, you can communicate this code, and then less than 8 years, like there are some crazy innovative entrepreneur want to construct a table transatlantic, less than 8 years. Like this is actually more than 170 years ago. If you think about it, and then you just invited a telegraphic cable, and the longest cable is only like I don't know, like a 15 meter, 16 meter, and there is already some crazy entrepreneur want to build a telegraphic cable across Atlantic. That's actually how what AI give people look like. Like even though it's very big, but everyone sees the future and then trying to build a huge, like the whole world built on based on the AI. So that's feel like AI. Blockchain is more subtle. I still feel like the impact for blockchain is more like subtle. It's more like a replace, as one of the investor, very interesting investor wrote memo about is that this blockchain is more like replace wood with steel in this case. You don't saw the immediate benefits in this case, but in the long term, steel is more durable. Steel is more, it will show the traits, but you can still live with wood for a while in this case. But eventually, people say, hey, instead of build ship with wood, build ship with steel is actually, that's why we have Titanic. We have other part in this case. So I think crypto's benefit is programmable money. Make sure your payment instant settlement. In this case, is actually more subtle, and it will take some time. And you have tons of noise, but it will take some time. It will proceed, and it will profound in this case. And then one thing immediately payment, friction point, immediate pain point for agentic AI world is that most of the operation done by agent is at machine speed and restless for 24/7 in this case. Very micro scale machine speed restless. And then you cannot use the existing payment rail. You cannot use credit card. It charge you 30 cents plus 3% fee. You cannot use the existing payment rail. It's charge you 3% fee. Like that's why the blockchain has to be the solution in this case for payment for agentic AI and then for agentic AI work.
Hey guys, sorry.
No worries, John. Yeah, Scott, actually, it's a great.
My Chrome completely jammed, and maybe that's a sign that I shouldn't be poking the bear, talking about the problems of the industry. So if there's ever been a more prophetic sign to stop talking, maybe that was it. I mean, I could go back to it, but effectively, what I was trying to say is, look, when you have projects that their focus is only their token, it's not you're not really building a product, right? When you have blockchains that are launching their token before their chain even goes live, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like it's great, and we've done a really good job driving speculation, and speculation can be infinite. When something becomes real, it becomes tangible. It's more tangible and it can be measured, and then that kind of hopium goes away. So I think we've kind of been a victim of our own kind of making as an industry. I think that's changing. AI doesn't have that, right? Like, I mean, we tried to do this, right? Every agent had its own token, and these tokens were going crazy for a while for some reason or another. It's still, for just because, right? It's just because. So that's really, I think, why we've stagnated a little bit as an industry in delivering on those real solutions like the payments. AI will do that and just use the chains as rails in the back. So
Absolutely. And John, actually, you're back to the exactly right moment. Given, like, first of all, I think right now, blockchain really have a great opportunity to become something that's mainstream adopted, especially when it comes to new industry that or a new technology. In some way, this Gen AI technology is in some way new, or agentic, it's in some way new, even though it has been there for a few decades, but the real adoption is just getting started. So usually when a new adoption, a new technology get adopted massively, that is the moment, like for example, blockchain can serve, if it can really serve as a native payment rail or like financial rail underlying, you will have, or we will all have a lot less friction to say one day we say, oh, we're going to come in to replace an existing one, because right now there's no existing one for agentic world, for agentic internet. So everything here we're seeing is first come serve, first come first serve. So this is the chance, I think. Now I see Avalanche is really pushing for real world adoption. KITE is really trying to push for real world adoption. There's no more, probably there's no more chances left for us to continue this speculative game, but have to show something real. So in that case, I'm curious about Avalanche right now, right? Because you guys are pushing for real world adoption for so long. Probably one of the first chains that has been pushing that for a few years, not just from this year, even though this year we start seeing like tremendous like appreciation, a tremendous like a signal that all people recognize how important that this behavior and this practice is. But also like when it comes to supporting the team, I'm curious now, Avalanche is supporting teams building like those AI native or AI augmented dApps today. Are there any specific programs? For example, like I'm honored to be part of the Infra Build AI program with Avalanche to push that, and or others. I'm curious like what type of support right now you guys are offering for people to push this, like what we talked about today's topic, AI and
Look,
blockchain.
I think we've been very fortunate to have some of the best partners in the industry, right? Whether it's Fortune 500 corporations, top global banks, local and state governments, um, crypto native builders, AI projects, you name it. And I think that's a testament to our ability to really help as partners. We provide, I think, the best technology stack for anyone building anything, or I'm sure we'll dive into that in a bit as well. But I often like to say the best technology, of course, when we know this doesn't always win. And technology is global, and that's fantastic. But business is personal, right? Business is local. That's why we have teams internationally in local jurisdictions, because the business protocol and process is different. The user demands are different. The developer demands are different. And the same is true in different industries as well, right? You can't just have a generalist person working on 8 different kinds of unrelated things. So but we all work together as a team. And I think what we do best and how we're really helping is the level of partnership that we give, right? The minute an announcement goes out, or it's not the end of the relationship or the partnership, it's really the beginning. That sounds like common sense, but that's oftentimes not the way people operate in this industry. So if people value the tech, we're really happy. We're really happy there because we know that they're coming to us from a serious place. And then it becomes a personal thing, right? We like you, you like us. We want to work together. We then become your partner, and the third part of that is the commercial support really becomes, how do you win, right? Like, how do we help you win? Because your success is our success, and we're not in competition. We're complementary to each other. And in that case, we provide, of course, grants to up and coming projects that need it to help kind of fund development and these fantastic ideas. We can support with investment as well, to have skin in the game, so that we're not just kind of giving you money and telling you to go away. Like that's all oftentimes also plagued this industry. And we have specific projects, right, and programs. So there's InfraBiddle, which supports infrastructure related projects specifically from the Avalanche Foundation, but there's InfraBiddle AI. You're on the committee for that to specifically support the growth of AI and AI applications on Avalanche. Additionally to that, I mean, we've done a million other things in the past. We have a Russian boost for DeFi incentives, for user incentives, not to bring applications on chain, but to actually bring users to use them and try them, and then hopefully become sticky. We have Vista for real world assets, Multiverse for launching Avalanche L1. So we've worked with the foundation to support the launch of a lot of different programs, to really support the builders through and through. Our DevRel team, I think, does a phenomenal job on the technical side, helping everybody. If you're a company or a product that needs an SLA and a professional services organization behind you, Labs has Ava Cloud, of course, that helps stand up and spin up chains. We also have fantastic support from third parties like Gelato and Zeev and others who are helping there as well. So it's really a kind of full suite of services, from technical support, financial support, marketing support, business development support. I mean, our teams talk all the time. I talk with you guys about options and ideas and ways to connect the dots with other things too. So it's not just on the commercial, it's on the personal, it's on the technical side as well.
And we as KITE can attest for that.
Very
Consider
good.
that is one of the strongest, honestly, reasons for us to consider and one, collaborate with Avalanche, and second, consider Avalanche as one of the most helpful partners to us, because that's just beyond tech, that's just beyond money. That's just a lot of personal level support, a lot of project level support. Yeah.
Makes a difference, right? That's the personal connection that I think people in this industry a little bit take for granted sometimes, or in a rush to just have news or things to talk about, we take for granted. But I do think more than anything, of course, the tech also allows for this, right? It allows for you guys to build what you want to build the way you want to build it, and not be forced into a solution that may or may not support your business goals and your product needs, right? I think that's also a problem that's been in this industry. This has turned into, instead of an AI chat, it's what's everything wrong with blockchain chat today. But you know, there's too many solutions out there in search of a problem. There's too many people who are like, fit your product and your solution and your business onto my chain, onto my use case to support me. We are there we are inverting that. We're doing it from the opposite side. We are going to every use case, business, application, jurisdiction, and saying, build the chain that's best for you. And when all these chains work together, it really will show what's possible, I think, for blockchain. So, you know, we could do the short term thing a little bit better, but I think when it comes to the medium to long term, we know where we're going. We know what we're doing.
Actually, you touched the thing that I'm really curious about the long term thing. So Avalanche has been well known for having probably one of the strongest institution level interest and institution level trust from those big companies, big institutions. So again, given that now we are marching towards this AI supercycle, like Scott cut it out right to the point, how do you see the institutional interest evolving as now AI becomes a way bigger and bigger part of the on-chain conversation? Are you seeing new types of institution demand or partnerships with Avalanche emerge around the AI use cases or AI needs?
So not as much, I think, as you would anticipate yet, because I think there's always this knee-jerk reaction. And what I mean by that is AI hasn't been regulated, but there hasn't also been overly financialized, so it's just being adopted. Whereas with blockchain and crypto, right, we had a unfair administration for 4 years and no regulatory clarity and just a hostile environment, at least in the United States. So you saw things go offshore, and now a lot of teams are like speed racing, right? So we used to do a lot of these POCs with institutions, and people would say, "Oh, what's the use of that?" And I'm like, that would take 8 to 12 to 16 months to get done. And any institution and anybody established, right, first crawls. Look, we tried it. Then they walk. We're doing it, and then they run and say, "Okay, we're going to ship." So we're seeing that kind of go back into overdrive. So the people who did the crawl first are like, okay, skip walk, let's run, right? You're seeing people who are like, we've been late, let's skip crawl and start with walking. And this is all to say that I think you're now seeing all these people be like, we haven't been able to do anything on chain for 3 or 4 years. Let's rush to do something on chain. So they're going to rush initially, I think, to do things wherever they can, as quickly as they can, whether it's good or bad or works or doesn't. There's going to be a whole mess, I think, in the short term, just because these people need to prove to their board and to their shareholders or to whoever else that we are also innovating and we are also taking advantage of blockchain. I think a report came out today. Actually, I saw it that 62% of Fortune 500 companies are looking at ways to integrate blockchain. Whatever it is, integrate blockchain, right? New buzzword. Now it's back to being a buzzword. but effectively they're going to launch an application or an asset or an NFT collection or something like they've done before at some level, or some are going to do it really quick. The others are going to think about it a more thoughtful way of doing it. And then there's the real things that are going to stick. And the real things that are going to stick, in my opinion, and effectively, is that every major company is going to need its own blockchain, right? Just like 20 years ago, if anybody asked us, hey, Scott, would you like a website? And you'd be like, why would I have a website? I'm not a bank. I'm not a university. I'm not a Fortune 500. Why the hell do I need a website? We take for granted how easy it is to have websites now, right? I could stand up a website in 5 minutes and have my own brand and and be an influencer or whatever the hell I want to do, right? Like you take for granted how easy it is to do that today. But 25 years ago, people thought it was silly to even have websites. Well, people still take for granted that they're going to need their own blockchains. Effectively, every company is going to need its blockchain. Every company might have many blockchains. You guys are going to have a ton of blockchains, right? To solve the needs that you're kind of working towards, right? So that's where I think we're going to be in the medium. The ones who get it will get done in the medium term, and everyone else will get it done in the long term. In the short term, it's just going to be a whole lot of noise and excitement, which is fine. But I think on the AI side, right, it's how are they going to marry these things? How are they going to? Because nobody's going to want to just to have that infrastructure layer without kind of doing more. And I think automating all these functions and features, particularly back office things, right? The most serious people are going to first try to find out how to make more money. And the quickest way to make more money for established companies that are not tech first is to save money on expenses. So I think that's where it happens first. And then that kind of drives a lot of new innovations and new possibilities and new opportunities to see where we go from there.
John, so far today, the part I enjoy the most with your conversation is how bluntly honest you are to the reality and the fact.
Hey.
And I love it. I was like, this also is something that we need more in this industry, about how things will truly evolve, and how do we consider what does that real mean as a real demand and real adoption versus like noise, versus like some just even like rush, some scared of being left behind. I think that's just yeah. I really cannot agree more on that sequence you just talked about. And also, this is something I think, as again, a Web2 person who came to the Web3 world, also been working in the enterprise world or even like the infra world. I found it, like in the very beginning, it took me some time to adapt, acknowledge and adapt the kind of like a mentality or like the timeline difference in this space. Because usually, like exactly you said, it's so common that you have considered that, for lending a businesses, it will take 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, or sometimes like multiple years, especially if you're talking about government deals and everything. Versus now here, sometimes in this in the crypto industry, which is also the beauty of this industry, is that if you don't land something next week, that means there's something wrong. And I think that's just like a very different type of speed and mentality. But I think that's both of them have their benefits, and so that's why also like a crypto has been showing a lot of like early, like they're open to also a lot of like a untested, even like untested, unproven technology, because there's just the like that mindset of boom, 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 go, go, go. But yeah, so it's the difference. Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome. Cool. So then in that case, goes back to Avalanche yourself. You talked about how institution will take time to adapt it. And again, totally agree. I think even in the Web2 world, without blockchain, even in the pure Web2 AI side, I think a lot of times Scott talked about Cursor as one of the fastest growing AI companies, or like the companies in the world. A lot of their sales come from actually now enterprise, because again, it's take time, they feel confident to adopt this. But as a role, as Avalanche in this particular landscape, what role do you consider, or do you think Avalanche will play in the very broader AI crypto ecosystem over the next 5 years? What is the role that you are playing, and what's the role you want to play, or ultimately you think that Avalanche should be?
I'll tell you where I hope we get. I don't know. I don't know the specific way we get there, or maybe I do, but if I do, I won't share it with everybody on a podcast. The ultimate goal, I think, for Avalanche is, like I said, right, to power every major company, every major business, every major application, or even specific assets having their own chains and having all those chains be interoperable, talk to each other, transfer value. The benefit of blockchains effectively is that you can digitize any form of value, and value can be a real world asset, a commodity, an equity, but it also could be your identity, your time, your attention, right? What is advertising effectively? That people are selling your attention to somebody in order for you to buy a product. So if we could find ways, or people can build really cool, life-changing applications that digitize all kinds of value, blockchains are the rails that value will move on. And I think AI will be kind of the orchestrator of that movement of that value to a level that we will start to take for granted. And I think eventually AIs will start to just spin up their own chains, right? Like, oh, like a back office function that handles payments for a company, right? Might have a chain for that, for receiving payments, but then they need to receive payments in a new jurisdiction or a foreign jurisdiction, so they spin up a new chain just to receive there, right? Think of it like if you're segregating accounts, right? Um, and then another chain, and another chain, another chain, and a company potentially could have 50 chains if they're operating in 50 countries with 50 different currencies, if all those currencies are tokenized. And then AI can be in the background doing FX arbitrage and stabilizing, and right. So that's the ultimate kind of future that I think we look towards, when there's not dozens or hundreds of chains, but tens of thousands of chains operating unison. My ultimate goal is that I have my own chain, right? And each of us have our own individual chain, just like maybe one day, I'm not saying now, but like in a decade plus from now, like I think it's achievable where that chain controls my value, whether it's my, my certifications, my health records, my identity, my data, everything. Like there's no better kind of situation than that. So we'll see where we go.
Like that final phrase, everybody has their own chance, not only every company. That's very wow. If we're reaching towards that word, that'll be. I think a lot of things we're talking about unfairness and like not able to tap into the AI economy for normal people. That's all actually will be solved as well. And in that case, I'm curious, like, do you have any comments here? Because we talked about like Sky is coming from like the big data, like data infrastructure background expert there, and we used to talk about how blockchain itself as like a immutable database. And what you say when you say, "Oh, everybody has their own personal chain," and that somehow reminded me everybody will have their own personal database that will store all those critical information for their end to be able to, like for
And
example,
everyone will have their
monetize.
own agent who will orchestrate all their things on their chain, and the whole thing just works, and we can just sit back and not do a whole lot of much.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I don't know if everyone will have his own chain, John. I wonder what's the economic reason or what's the incentive for everyone has his own chain. I think everyone will have his own agent. That part is easier to understand in this because you want to have an agent only represents your interest, like understand your secret, understand your and behalf on behalf of your behave on behalf of your interest. But I feel like if you look at the currently how blockchain work, you have proof of stake and proof of work. You have extremely decentralized chain like Ethereum has a million plus validator in this case, doing almost exactly the same thing.
A million plus because it's capped at 32 ETH. So I mean,
Yeah. So, but
if we capped every validator at 32 of Vox, we'd have 5,000. I mean,
yeah. So, but on the other hand, you have relatively centralized chain. May have like a 10 validator, 15 validator in this case. I think like what's actually I wonder from your perspective, what's actually the business reason or incentive reason everyone to have its own chain in this case? Because chain actually come from additional costs, right? You need to you need to build all the utility, you need bridge, you need stablecoin, you need
I mean, if you look
flag
at it,
storage.
in today's world, yeah, it's an insane thing that I said, right? But I'm not looking at it today. I'm looking at it in like 10 to 15 years, maybe. Like, um, look, the idea of having your own blockchain is like you need a whole team of platform engineers and distributed system engineers and cryptographers and blah blah blah. And the same thing was said about websites 20, 25 years ago. Right, you need an IT department and servers and this and that and a million things. And now you click a button on WordPress or you click a button on Shopify and you open up your own storefront in a second. I mean, you can launch a chain right now on AvaCloud or on Avalanche for like $2,000 to $5,000 a month if you just need a basic chain. Like that's orders of magnitude cheaper than it was a few years ago. So this myth that like, ooh, we're launching a new blockchain, it's going to be like life shattering, and we're going to raise $500 million and all this stuff. Like, cool. Like, it's not really going to. You're not going to change the world. I'm sorry, but I think proliferating purpose-built block space, application-specific blockchains, things that like you guys are doing and a million other people are doing, can help. What's the economic incentive? Immutability. You own everything. You own your own data, your own value, your own life, and your agents will transact it. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's it. Like if I was to stretch out the thesis that I believe in to its ultimate conclusion, that's what it would be. Whether we get there, how we get there, I don't know yet. If I did, then I would definitely be trying to do that immediately. I don't think it's a short, medium, or long-term thing. I think that's a stretch goal for the industry and for the technology in general.
Yeah, so John, I completely agree with you that for example, everyone needs his own website in this case because you need a website to represent yourself. But I feel like everyone needs his own blockchain is a little bit different. As you mentioned, blockchain is a space rental. I handle the space rental business, block space rental business, and then I feel like if the statement is that everyone needs blockchain, I feel like everyone should build its own data center. And then regardless, in this case, like I think it's different than everyone needs their own website, a little bit different.
Well, Scott, I don't know, but John, sorry for chiming in, but this is what I think. I'm more like potential on John's side about this because everybody has their own blockchain. Doesn't necessarily mean everybody needs to have their own token.
Correct.
Like blockchain is a technology here. John.
Now your attention may be tokenized, your identity might be tokenized, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can tokenize different things. I mean, yes, and to your point, you will rent block space. Maybe individuals will rent block space, and then maybe if you need it at one point, you'll get. Who knows where this thought experiment goes? I'm just, with all the things that are being made possible on a daily basis, and with all the support of agents and everything on the AI front, I think we turbocharge kind of that super cycle that you were talking about, right? In terms of just global technology adoption, particularly in developing nations in the emerging world, right? Like we've seen that, right? A lot of countries skipped the landline and went straight to the mobile phone, right? Certain places skipped the banks and went straight to mobile banking. So like the world is getting smaller on a daily basis. People are more connected than ever. The ability to move money and value is still very slow. And still very gatekept, despite blockchains being able to do that. Getting on and in and out of the blockchain world is still difficult. So I think we have a lot of work to do on our side. You guys will help turbocharge that, I'm sure. I think it's, the breakthroughs will come from places that people don't expect. And for use cases people don't expect. And then once that happens, I think you really start running.
Yeah, actually, this is a very I really enjoyed this debate, but we're marching towards like the end of the podcast, and it's a very open debate. To be honest, like who knows about the future? It could be like what John mentioned about everybody has their own blockchain, and it could also might not be the case that we ultimately reaching towards that. And I think it's quite interesting that even like now you see today or the past 2 days, I don't know if John you saw that kind of debate online about one of the biggest, one of the most, prominent fintech startup founders were talking about how they still don't believe in the value of stablecoin. And then it's actually spiked a huge discussion, huge debates online. A lot of people have their own word, own side. I think it's all good side. It's all good insights about how they think the right and left. But I think the world is going to marching towards a direction where the true builders and true operators will push hard on the boundary and push hard on the new technologies or new products potentially can help people, help real world use cases. So I think at least the one thing that we can do here, Avalanche, KITE, other teams here are really trying to push the boundary of and blockchain. I think that's at least the minimum we can do, and we will see.
For sure.
Yeah. Last question. That's more for you, John, as a person, as a CBO of Avalanche. What type of partnerships or conversations are you genuinely most excited about in this space? Like, as with your
Talking to
personal
you guys
passion.
here today, everything Kite's doing. I mean, of course, I get asked this question oftentimes, and I have 3 kids at home, and it's like asking me who my favorite kid is, like who my favorite child is. Everything's exciting to me, right? I think that's why I don't sleep very much and why I'm terminally online. I think the opportunities are endless. I think they're endless for us. They're endless for you guys. I think if we all do the right thing, if we just keep kind of pushing towards real adoption and real use cases, I think we can really make a change. I think Avalanche is really perfectly poised for that. I've been here 4.5 years, and I wouldn't, still be here if I didn't believe that for the indefinite future. I love what we're doing. I think we're really delivering on a lot of the promises that the technology has done. What really excites me is just, I think, in the next 6 to 12 months, especially showing all the things that we've done and all the things that we've been working on and all the things that have launched or that are still to launch or that will launch, kind of all working in unison, right? The many chains that feel like one kind of thesis that we have, I think is really going to start to take shape, much more so than it already is. You're starting to see that right now. There's like this great graphic by L1 Beats that shows value moving across the network. But I think when you have 100+ chains, 200+ chains, and they're all kind of supporting each other and working in unison, and there's this real economy that's or a network of economies that are brewing, that'll show what this technology enables. And then what really excites me is when someone takes inspiration from all that and really goes out and builds something completely new and novel that's not existed before, right? I talked about this at Summit. I think what you guys are doing is one of those, right? I think for the most part, we've been reinventing a lot of industries by putting them on chain, making them better, faster, more efficient. I think, the big changes come from revolutionary ideas. And I think, we haven't had that aha revolutionary moment in Web3 or crypto yet. To your point, right? We're still lagging on stable coins as a method of effective payment, or at least mainstream payment. But I think what you guys are doing is revolutionary in the sense that you're helping to forge a new industry, right? Like AI isn't this established industry, no matter what anybody says. It's still in its ultimate infancy. And I think what you guys are doing is helping shape that industry by building something truly amazing. And we're super excited to be supporting you guys with that. So what you guys are doing, that is what really excites me, and the stuff that you inspire other people to do as well that doesn't exist yet, that's what really excites me. What it is yet, I don't know. I can't wait to see it. Hopefully it's one of those aha moments when I hear someone building it. But for now, I mean, you guys are really revolutionizing on the AI front, so kudos to you guys.
Touch my heart. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the kudos, and again, also kudos to Avalanche for making it happen for us as well. We are marching towards the last minute, and John, where can people find you? Socials, website?
Terminally
LinkedIn,
online all the
Twitter.
time. I am on Twitter at John Nahas 84. I'm old. On LinkedIn, John Nahas. And that any upcoming event or conference that I'm speaking at, would love to meet people. So stop by, say hi, or send me a DM. I'm always around.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's a perfect ending, and looking forward to, John, more of your thoughts, more of your talks, and yeah, more of the great things you deliver, and also your team Avalanche deliver. So
Thank you so
looking forward
much.
to. Yeah,
Thank you,
awesome.
guys.
Thank you.
Have a good
Have a
day.
good
Talk
day.
soon. Thank
Yeah,
you.
talk soon, guys. Bye bye. Thank you.